Hello, everyone. My name is Faith, and I will be presenting our language acquisition theory focused on behaviorism with my partners, Kaylee and Leah. We look forward to you guys enjoying this presentation and gaining a lot of knowledge from it. My following slide is just so you can get to know our team members. Of course, we have myself, Faith, there. We have Leah and Kaylee. We are very excited to go ahead and get started with this presentation. So, what is behaviorism, right? So it was developed by B.F. Skinner in 1957, and it's focused on observable behavior and not internal thought. So language is learned through imitation, repetition, and reinforcement, which is also considered as stimulus, as a reference to imitation, response, which is repetition, right? They're responding by repeating what you're saying. And reinforcement, of course, is straightforward reinforcing, redoing it again. And that's how you go ahead and get it done. So ask yourselves, have you ever learned something because someone praised you? So that's really what behaviorism kind of focuses on the progress a student can make in regards to having, these three steps done. The key concepts to behaviorism is stimulus, which is what triggers the behavior. The response is focusing on the learner's action from their behavior that's triggered. And reinforcement is the feedback that strengthens their learning. And then we also have a fourth point, which is imitation and repetition, because it is really essential to building this habit by repeating it and continuing to do so. They automatically, not automatically, but in a natural way, by memorization, they start redoing it, right? So right there in that image, you have a teacher with her young ones, talking to them, right? Possibly you can think about repeating and say, "Hello, students, how are we today?" And they're like, "Hello, Mrs. Sierra, how are you today?" So that's teaching them, response to her asking them how they're doing in a very nice, polite way. They're responding back and acting politely, asking her as well. And she's saying, "Oh, awesome. Thank you for saying that," and being polite about it. We repeat stuff like that. It's going to make our students go ahead and want to be encouraged to grasp back because of the praise that they receive for doing a good job. So on this image two right here, you can go ahead and see like a cycle of it, right? It is the English vocabulary textbook because this is focused, of course, for our EL learners. So we got them, looking at, learning something in English, and it's going towards them, responding and following that action. And then the thumbs up is us praising them or giving them a prize for it, correct? So on the following slide, it is my focus to go ahead and present, the classroom or instructional practice. So we have a scenario where, a teacher says, "Good job using the word blue. Here's a sticker." So the student doing that repeats the word blue more confidently next time, right? So we do have, so in these pictures, we do have the three arrows in order corresponding to stimulus, response, and reinforcement, correct? So doing that, on the first picture there, you see stimulus, which is, a teacher is hands-on and praises slash encourages effort for rewards. So she's saying, "Let's go ahead and clap, guys." And, the students say clap. So our EL students are learning how to say clap and act it. With that, it follows with the response of them feeling confident enough to repeat the word out in other sentences and stuff like that. We then have, it going to the third part, which is reinforcement, which is when the student is happy because she received a reward, and that motivates repetition and encouragement for them to feel confident to do it again. So it is with stimulus, response, reinforcement. And then why it matters, it's really plain and simple, because it builds learners' confidence and motivation. It encourages participation from our EL students. It provides clear and immediate feedback, and it works well for EL and early learners. So a reinforcement can be, verbal as "great job," or tangible such as like stickers or prizes or treasure chest box. That's a good reinforcement method for our EL students. Here is an example for before, not implementing that. You see a student there, kind of hesitant. He looks stressed, like he's questioning it, how to write, whatever he had learned previously. He's not confident. And with reinforcement, it's showing, a student smiling, right, and encouraged. So I'm going to play the video here on before. You can see, the students kind of focus, and, you see how he's there like stressing, right? So it shows a hesitant student, a very not confident student, and that's not what we want for our EL students. Here after, encouraging stimulus, um, response and reinforcement, if we go ahead and follow that, you see the after where, you see the teacher engaging in a positive way, interactive. She's repeating it. She's confident there, she's getting, there the reinforcement, the praise that she needs to feel confident and repeating what she's doing. So I'm going to go ahead and conclude my part of the slides. I'm going to go and pass it over to my partner, Leah. Thank you so much for watching, and hope you guys enjoy the rest of our presentation.
Thank you so much, Faith. So now that my partner has explained what behavioralism is and how it works in the classroom, I'm going to show you an activity that applies those principles. So the activity I have for you today is called Vocabulary Lineup, and it's designed using repetition, remodeling, and reinforcement, just like behavioralism emphasizes. So the activity uses clear prompts, immediate feedback, and positive reinforcement to hopefully shape the students' responses and engagement over time, which ties directly into the behavioralism approach. So let me show you how this activity works step by step. First, I'm going to give you an activity overview of the steps, and then I'm going to do a mini demonstration. So the activity happens in rounds. It can be done in a one-on-one practice with one student or and a teacher, or it can be done with multiple students in a single file line. I like to think that it creates an opportunity for students to engage with one another and build on each other's excitement. Having the students stand in a line in front of you, one at a time, doing the motions and sending them to the back of the line and kind of making it a sort of practice game, I think is, again, another way for students to be engaged and feed on each other's excitement. But 3 rounds, essentially, each round reduces the level of teacher support but increases in positive reinforcement. So, round number 1, the teacher will say a vocabulary word, repeat while clapping the syllables, and then repeat again while showing a picture of the word or an image to help associate with the vocabulary. The student is then prompted to repeat the word back, and then the teacher will give a quick praise, like, good job, right? Good job. Round 2. So the student will be given the word again, and then the image with the word. And then they're prompted to repeat it back. The teacher will then again reinforce with a little extra pizzazz. So, extra like a high five or fist bump, and then a specific verbal praise of what they did well. So, kind of really honing in on, like, wow, you did a great job. I really liked the way that you sounded it out. I like the way that you took your time. Really, letting the student know that you're paying attention to them and how they are grasping the concepts, being specific in that verbal praise. And then round 3, this is the recall and reward round. So at this point, the teacher only shows the picture. The student then has to recall and say the word without hearing it first. When they get it right, a small prize like a sticker or a trip to the activity box. This is my or reward box prize bin, my homemade one with, it's enticing when you have a few little things to get people excited to learn. But something like that to entice engagement. And even if they are having trouble, positive encouragement and assistance is still required, regardless of how independent and how independently they get to the final answer, they'll still be rewarded when they do. And this helps the student feel excited to continue to learn, but also allows the teacher to gauge where the student is succeeding, but also where they're struggling. So I will give a quick demonstration. I'll show you what round three looks like because we can understand a good job with round two. Oh, awesome. You nailed it again. You know, that kind of engagement. But a round three is kind of like, what are you talking about? You got this in the bag. And so I will give you a quick demonstration. I will be the teacher, Miss Scott, and you can be um, a student. So I will hold up my card, my flashcard, and prompt you according to round three. Hi, friends. Are you ready for this one? You've been doing so good. I think you got this one. Okay, ready? That was awesome. You got it. You did amazing. And you know what I think? I think you get a smiley sticker for being so awesome sauce, whichever color you like. See, it's a bit exciting. It makes you want to engage more. So now that I've shown you how that activity works, the build up to the the big prize, I want to explain why it's especially effective within the behavioralism approach. So, so it's um, this activity supports behavioralism because it builds learner confidence because it gradually lowers the support, but it increases the amount of encouragement. So it makes them feel more confident in their ability to do it. It increases engagement in a group setting, especially if you're doing it with multiple students. If you're doing it one-on-one, that's awesome too. That's really cool to have that undivided attention, but also including it in a class activity, a group activity, it encourages engagement all around because everyone's doing it. It gives clear, immediate feedback, which is essential for learning, especially when it's positive and encouraging. And it's ideal for early learners, but also any English learners who benefit from repetition and visuals, especially pre emergent or emergent learners. And finally, it reinforces, I'm sorry, the reinforcement can be verbal, like praise, or tangible, like points or stickers or fun opportunities from the prize box. All of these reflect those ideas from Skinner. So language learned through imitation, repetition, and reinforcement. Imitation, which I didn't get to in the first and second rounds, but clapping along with the syllables is a great way for them to see that behavior, practice that behavior, and before you know it, by round three, they're probably going to still be holding on to that behavior as they're learning, clapping out those syllables, but all learning through that imitation and that observable behavior. So repetition, enforcement, with, as I said, observable behavior rather than internal thought. So it doesn't just teach vocabulary, it shapes behaviors through consistent reinforcement. And that wraps up my activity. And so we've looked at how behavioralism can be used in a guided activity. Now I'm going to pass it over to my next partner, Kaylee, who focuses on individual practices and some examples that continue using that same behavioralism principles.
So, we're going to go on to our own little guided practice activity. So, class, can you match the word with the picture? Yes, go ahead. That's so close. Why don't you try again? Here, let's try together. The picture at the top. What is it? Do we think it's a lion, a fish, or a dog? Yes. That's right, it is a dog. Good job. Now, can somebody tell me what that middle picture is? Excellent job. It is a fish. Good job. And then lastly, can somebody tell me what that picture at the bottom is? That's right. It's a lion. Good job. You can go ahead and pick a sticker out of our sticker book. And then here are those answers for you guys. Good job. Excellent job. So, why does this matter? When practicing or doing an activity with students, it is so important to reassure and praise them even when they're wrong. When a student is wrong and educators don't assist in success or support for the students, their confidence and willingness to participate in class will decrease. When a student answers correctly but isn't praised, they may think they're being overlooked and can lose confidence or even willingness to participate. So some good examples of phrases to use for a wrong answer maybe say, "That's not quite right, but good job. It was such a good try." For a correct answer, you could say, "That's correct. Awesome job." And for an unsure answer, we could say something like, "We can work through the problem together." Using these phrases will praise the students and build up their confidence and willingness to participate within class.
Thank you so much, Kaylee. So, as we wrap up this presentation, let's bring the key ideas together. We learned that behavioralism develops English and learning skills through reinforcement. When teachers provide positive feedback, praise, and reward, students are more likely to repeat the desired language behaviors and build confidence to make learning more comfortable. We highlighted that effective teaching isn't just about reinforcement alone, but it works best when it's paired with empathy and ethical classroom practices. This balance helps create a safe and encouraging environment where students feel supported to try, make mistakes, and grow. So let's take a pause for a quick reflection. I'm going to prompt you to stop and think and ask yourself, when have you used or responded to positive reinforcement in your everyday life? And if you want to pause the video and take a moment to really ponder and think, I can do that for you. And you can go ahead and do that. So, for me, when I think about that, I think about waiter staffs at restaurants or baristas at coffee shops. When I use polite language like saying please or thank you, or I come in with my really complex Starbucks order, but I say it politely and respectfully, the staff usually responds with friendliness and better service and sometimes even accommodations. The amount of times I've gone in and said, I want something, but I don't know what, but I say it kindly and I have a smile and I say please and thank you, they're willing to come up with whatever ideas that they have. And so that positive response to me being positive, it makes me want to keep being positive and feel invited to come in and present myself in a certain way, which can be said for the classroom. The same principles can be used in the classroom. That positive reinforcement shapes communication and it shapes the way that we engage with each other. It supports language development and it provides meaningful connection to real world behavior. So not only will they feel comfortable to learn in the classroom, but to learn in any real world environment. So, in conclusion, behavioralism is a great practical tool that helped show us and helps us teach language and build positive habits and connect learning to students' lives. And so I hope that you enjoyed our presentation and thank you for taking the time to watch it. We hope that you're able to gain some useful insight into how behavioralism supports English language learning and effective classroom practice. If you have any questions or thoughts or feedbacks, feel free to share with us in the discussion board. We'd love to hear your perspectives and your ideas and engage with you guys. So thank you so much, and I hope you have a great day.